Well, the listeners should be aware we have an alcohol problem.
Yeah. I think so.
Fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Well, it's not a problem. It's just we drink alcohol.
Who said it was a problem?
Yeah. I shoot LA indeed. I'm just happy I got like a direct deposit drop today. I was stressed.
And did you put that directly into Coinbase and start buying up Solana and
No,
ETH?
I cleared all the credit I was owed. I owe right now because you know how fashion brands go, and they like to pay you real on time.
Yeah, sure. And, they would do net $325 if they could.
So I was literally talking to Bing about it because I was like, I was behind on sending out some. Speaking of which, shout out to Bing.
Hi, Bing Putney. He was upset he didn't get his freaking shout out last time.
He was with me for 4 days, and I was like, and the funniest part was we were talking about the whole shout out thing, and after that, I was reviewing Kim's, and I was like, oh, we forgot to shout you out again. My bad, dude.
Hi, Bing. Jesus
Who
Christ.
is Bing?
He's helped us out. He was my assistant in Miami. He didn't come to dinner with us though.
Oh, he's a first. He first for you?
He's like a good Digitech, great assistant.
Yeah, if you need like a solid Digitech.
Cool.
Like, he's like
LA based.
LA based, yeah.
LA
Nice.
based.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to I Shoot LA. My name's Lucas. I am a commercial fashion photographer here in our city of Angels. Sitting across from me is one Christian Tani. Don't know, semi-racist.
Oh, wait, no. Today is 1.5 Asians
1.5 Asians.
and 1.5 white people.
That's very true. Yes, a silent partner is Kelly. I don't know your last name yet. Casey? Kelly Casey. Wow, what a great power name.
Damn.
Kelly
Wait,
Casey.
what's your mix?
Chinese-Irish.
Well, I'm Filipino.
Well, then it's still
White
just
guy.
two. Well, now it's what? 2 and 2?
Yeah.
2 and 2.
We're 2. We together are one Asian.
Now it's just 2 Asians and 2 white people.
And to my right, not to be overlooked by any means, our favorite ginger, the man himself. It's Matt Shouse, everybody.
Happy to be here.
It's a real studio audience. Matt, I have not seen you since a couple weeks ago. Matt was shooting a job in Miami.
You saw him a couple. Oh,
yeah, Matt was shooting a job in Miami the same
Yeah.
time I was, and I saw your Instagram because I'm the kids. I keep up with the kids on
You're
the
active.
gram. You know?
I am the
And
kids.
I saw
You are the kids.
You are the
I am
kids,
the kids.
though. How old are you? You're like not even 30.
27.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
I didn't buy a camera until I was 30, so I still hadn't even bought a camera yet by your age, and wouldn't for another 3 years if my math is correct.
Well, I still got to catch up with you though.
Yeah,
So.
I think you're way beyond me by now, friend. But Matt and I ran into each other.
I agree.
In Miami, we shared a nice meal at a very crappy restaurant.
Where'd you guys go?
Somewhere on Ocean Drive. It was terrible. It'd be like going to Sunset.
You guys didn't go to, what do you call it?
No, we went to
Havana-
what's it called? The
Havana-
Clevelander.
Oh yeah, we went to the Clevelander
We
as well.
started the Clevelander.
Oh.
I was literally like, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
The
drink
drinks
there.
were terrible.
Yeah, they
Everything
were.
was terrible.
Wait, were you guys getting cocktails?
the Clevelander is like the Saddle Ranch here.
Yeah.
In LA, like
You just get shots.
I went there ironically.
Oh.
So-
I had like a 5 a.m. flight or 6 a.m. the next
Yeah.
day.
You should
So
just
that was
went to-
my last night. I was not trying to get like that turned. They were trying to get real
You guys should have
turned.
just went to
Yeah.
11.
What's that? 11 o'clock.
It's a club.
That's the strip club with all the multi-level.
It's a club.
Oh, it's not.
It's a
okay.
club with burlesque dancers that
Wow.
are in it. But
Okay.
it's a club that you can stay forever.
You could just move in.
Forever.
It's great.
The rent is $20 a song, indefinitely. That's awesome.
But they have great cocktails there.
Well, amongst other things, it sounds
Yeah.
like. Matt,
I think it's part of it.
tell us about your Miami job. What did you shoot and who'd you shoot for? If you don't want to name drop, it's fine. But how was your experience? You have a good time?
Yeah, Miami was nice. The light there,
The lights
it
great.
like works better
Yeah.
than LA for beach.
Oh.
There's never a cloud in the sky except literally today.
I thought.
It's like the most beautiful
Yeah.
peninsula of like
Right.
shooting. I mean, like you're like as close to I feel like Mexican sun as possible. Like
Yeah.
my favorite is shooting in like the Caribbean or Mexico, just because you're so far south. Like the sun's just lower, it's
Yeah.
softer, but
Yeah.
like just beautiful.
Well, it's just opposite. Like in the evening, it's dropping, and
Yeah.
like at least at that time of the year when I was there, like your subject is here, and the light is catching your subject and the ocean. Opposed to
Yeah.
LA, it's the opposite, where
Correct.
you're backlit
Yeah.
for sunset,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But no, I was shooting for a Canadian brand called Garage Clothing.
Nice.
Cool.
And we were doing 2 days there. One day was full swim, and then the other day was like streetwear with like 3 models. So it was more like Miami City vibes. Yeah. But still South Beach, like very close.
It's like a Matt Shouse direction.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And we actually shared a model too. One of the girls you shot from your job, she jumped right onto my job, and you pointed that out to me. I forgot her name already, but she looks exactly like Miranda Kerr, except
Jordan.
18. Jordan, yeah. So sorry, Jordan. She's not listening. Who cares?
Right. Exactly.
We have 3
No
listeners
18-year-old is
to work.
listening. No 18-year-old is listening to I Shoot
Matt
LA.
doesn't even listen to this, so it's fine.
Yeah, apparently we can't get even Matt. Good Lord.
I have no comeback for that whatsoever.
Other than, that's true.
Yeah.
He just thought we were hanging out and drinking.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
we just plugged him in with a mic and we're
Yeah.
like,
Well,
hey,
as I was
what's up?
walking down here, I was like, I did not prepare. I don't know how serious this is.
We don't even
gonna
prepare
be.
for this.
Matt, now, since we have you, I want you to push this invisible button right here. If you could push that button right there. Right, it's right here. Go ahead and push it. Ooh, we're going into the Wayback Machine, Matt. Take us back. Kelly, just so you know, I played a hilarious sound drop. So Matt, take us back to your humble beginnings. Now, you hail from the Midwest like myself. I am from Chicago, Illinois. You are from somewhere, Indiana.
Fairmount, Indiana.
Fairmount, Indiana. Shout out Fairmount. What was it like? What's Indiana like? I mean, tell the listener.
It's a lot of cornfields.
Yes,
cool.
It's one gas station. It's one stoplight, like full stoplight. We have like one that like blinks
Kinda
where you
works.
stop and go.
Yeah.
But we have
yeah.
one like full like red,
green.
yellow, green.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have one of those. And then we have like one blinker one where it's just red.
Sick.
What? So, I mean, I'm sure we all love our hometown represent, but like, it sounds like you needed to get the F out of there.
Well, where did cameras come in?
Yeah, like
from
how
there?
are you in like a one
what?
stop sign, one stoplight town in Midwest Indiana, and then how are you now in LA, sitting amongst like some of the most elite photographers in this industry? And I don't,
Could you point out the elite photographers?
Oh, no, they're across the street.
They're outside of
This
Bestia
area.
there.
They're
Oh,
LA.
they're having
Yeah,
dinner
yeah, so
downstairs.
many. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we're
That's
here.
right. Yeah.
We will bring you to them after we finish recording.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, if you go way back, when
Yeah.
I was like probably like 8 or 9, my parents got me some like little stop motion like Lego camera that you like plug into a PC, like Windows 96.
That's tight.
And then I would like build these little things with Legos and like make little bullshit like stop motion like films.
Wait, is this like real?
No, this is real. This is real. This is real. This is like OG. Yeah.
Wow. No shit.
Yeah.
So that's where it all started.
Well, my background started in video, in like motion.
Okay.
And then I transitioned to still photography only really when I got here, or like briefly before moving to LA.
Did you come to LA to do video / motion?
So yes, so I was in like a semester program that was motion at a school over on like Wilshire that doesn't exist anymore, that I also didn't graduate from. So really, I don't have that much legitimacy to be here at all.
What a proud alumni.
Right. It was not AFI by any means. And then I transitioned to still from there.
Yeah.
Why is that? Is it easier? Less
Well,
editing?
I met
fun.
a couple. I would come out to LA before I moved here when I was like in college, right? And I would meet some friends that were doing like the film industry thing like for real, and I was seeing how long their path was to get to the jobs they actually wanted. You know, like if you wanted to be a DP, you're slinging C stands, you're PAing, whatever. It would take years if you ever even made it to where you wanted to go.
And then
And
photographers,
I was lazy.
you were just like, yeah, we saw
I
these
was
jokes
lazy
on the side
and-
over here.
yeah,
They're making
yeah.
it.
And,
You can do this.
I followed like a very couple amount of people on like photographers on Instagram, and I was like, oh yeah, that's what they're doing is cool. It seems like smaller, simpler, and I was like seeing people take beautiful females to the beach and somehow pay their rent. I thought, like Jared and like Jordan Green,
Jared,
like those are
who?
the first
Who's
two.
I don't understand who's
Jared?
Jared.
Jared Kochka.
He sounds terrible. What's his name?
Yeah, what is this?
Jaja Jared at the time.
I've never heard of this man. Ever. Crazy. Anyway, continue this. Going past this fictional person you've just made up.
Right.
Yeah. Continue.
No, I just thought I saw a more direct path to like income and being like a bigger piece in the wheel, I guess, compared to like movies, which is like can be a slow process up.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I just pivoted into only photo and just started doing anything I could with that.
It sounds like, I mean, you're still a storyteller and you're still telling your stories visually. It's just now that it's 1 frame a second instead of 24. Although with these burst modes on this new R3, yeah, I can do a lot more.
But you're doing video too.
Well,
right? So I mean,
it's such a totally different industry because like what I do and I think what we all do is it's utility, right? We're selling items, right?
Yeah.
Compared to these people that are in Hollywood are telling stories and like sometimes people like it, sometimes people don't. So people go see it. They don't, that's like a whole nother way of, like income compared to what we do, where it's like, people can look at what we do and say, oh, you just sold out. The other day I shot a job like, oh, we sold out those hoodies the same day. Like, okay, that's like this, where you work on a movie, you're looking at box office sales, you're looking at all these other like other things.
But we're talking like the highest caliber of film at that point, right? Like, I mean, you have commercial DPs, you have just like small ad DPs and whatnot too, right? Like, does that...
Well, I mean, at the time, I came from a tiny college in Indiana, like a private school in Indiana. I had no idea the scope that all of this went, right?
Yeah.
Like I had.
When you first started, you didn't understand how large the industry was?
I didn't even know the job I have now. I didn't even know that existed.
I think the industry, though, to be fair, the industry has changed. So it was kind of the same for a long time, and then social media and Instagram kind of come along, and it just busts everything. It changes the business model. It changes the modeling landscape. It changes. Fast fashion becomes
last like 5 to 7 years have been like the biggest transitions, I think, in like everything.
Yeah, whereas film has still always been, movies are still movies, although TikTok is now kind of taking away the box office more than anything. But
when you come from like a small town, which I don't know how small the town you came from is.
I'm about an hour outside Chicago called Rockford, Illinois.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah,
I've heard of that.
1.4 million people. So.
Okay, well, my town is
there's like
under 3,000 people. So, but when you grow up in that environment, you have no idea what's out there. Like I never saw like even these designer brands and like Gucci stores, all that stuff. I had no idea this stuff.
You're like
you know what I mean? Like you're not
Supreme.
All the stuff that you're dripping with now.
Yeah,
is that it's called drip, right?
It is called drip. Yeah, John Jay told us it was called drip.
Drip.
Yeah,
the
drip. Shouse. So what made you move, because you'd been coming out here a little bit during college, so what made you decide to make the big permanent move? And when you did make that decision, was it like, I'll give myself a year, or were you like, I'm all in?
I'm trying to think back. A lot of different things kind of like went into the whole thing. So I have an aunt that lives out here in like West Hollywood area.
Oh, nice. What'd she do?
She is an assistant to an actor.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
And she's older. She's like my great aunt, I guess technically. So she's like in her 70s.
Yeah, she's a great aunt.
She's right. She's never there. So I would always like fly out here and stay on her couch, right?
Yeah.
So at one point I put up some bullshit reel on whatever it was back in like 2013 or 14 or something.
Tumblr.
Something anyways, and some kids from New York Film Academy found it. I have no idea how.
Did you hashtag something? Or like?
I guess. I have no idea how this happened.
Anyways, posted it at New York Film Academy.
Yeah. Right. But so anyways, New York Film Academy has people out here, has students out in LA. And they like hit me up and they wanted to like book me for like 10 days straight as a DP at like some terrible rate. It was like $150 a day. But at the time,
I was like, a good rate for never having ever worked ever.
I was like, this is like
on your aunt's couch.
This is like
DPing on it.
Right. Yeah. So I wasn't even here. I was in Indiana and I get this email like, hey, I'm like, okay, well, I want a deposit because I'm not going to fly out here to shoot some, like, who knows? And I have like $50.
Was it an erotic film?
No.
Oh, okay. No. I'm less interested.
More on that later. But no. Anyways, and so I just replied like, yeah, if you guys can PayPal me the deposit, and then I get like $600. I'm like, okay, well I guess I'm gonna fly out. And I call my aunt like, hey, can I stay on your couch? And then I come out here, ended up staying for like a month, and shooting these films like with like a 5D Mark III, and these kids probably got like hoodwinked for sure by me, but that's fine. We got it done. That's fine. And they still linked me on IMDb for this stuff, and I'm like, why do I have an IMDb page?
Professional Roger Deakins, watch out, professional DP.
But that got me out here before I moved, and so I would still try to connect with anyone I could, and I went to a thing called Cine Gear. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Cine Gear.
No.
It's like a film thing they have at Paramount Studios, where they show all the new cameras from Red and like Ari and all. It's an event to the public, right?
Yeah.
I go to that And then there's a DP that gives a presentation there, and I go up after. I'm like, hey, like if I can intern for you or like do anything. He's like, oh yeah, I got a thing next.
What a go-getter! You just went up to him. You're like,
yeah. I was like, after the thing.
Fucking love that.
This is how you make it.
This is how you fucking make it.
This is how you make it, guys. Take note.
You guys have been drinking too much, but
I mean, yes, but
also
take note,
yes.
guys.
But anyways,
this is how you make it.
This leads to me helping on some shoot as like a grip or like something, and they were like shooting something for his like academy that like shows people how to shoot films, right? So I'm there helping him shoot that, and then I meet one of my buddies, Chris, that Shintani knows. Early on, right? And then like he was my age, but he was like deep in the industry, and we just were like him and I would just bounce so many ideas off each other at an early age before I even moved here.
Oh, that's how you're homies.
So we stayed in touch.
What is Chris's last name?
Chris Hare.
Chris Hare.
Chris Hare.
Hair like a rabbit or hair like on my head?
Like a
rabbit.
H-A-R-E?
Well, it's
No, it's
H-E-R-R.
Oh.
But I always thought it was
Is he German?
Yes.
Wow, this is good podcasting.
Yes, he is. He is German.
Continue.
Shout out to Chris.
I think right. Shout out Chris. There you
Hi,
go.
Chris.
I think. Well, I met him and then my buddy Seth. And around the same time, I met a few people. So the thing about me coming to LA was I met a few people before I moved here, because when I did come here, it was a college program that I paid a lot of money to come out here, and I was thinking about like not doing that because like you know what, I have like a couple connections. I don't want to spend 20 grand on some college shit to get to LA. If I already know people, I could just come out here and do it myself.
Yeah, of course.
I ended up still doing the college because professors in Indiana were like pushing me like, oh, you should just still do it. I'm like,
Yeah, because they want 20 grand. That's why.
Exactly. But I do it. But I've been coming out to LA quite a bit before that to like make connections. Every time I come back, I would get dinner with Chris and my buddy Seth, who runs like a water project. I would come out with and get dinner with him, who I'm still friends with all these people too.
Is that what you went to Africa for?
Right.
Oh, sick. Dope.
Like
Africa, the country?
Oh,
yeah.
Africa.
Or I mean, continent?
Yes.
Kelly, sorry. Kelly's like, I just met this guy, he's a total idiot.
I'm sort of telling the whole story is I'm a little bit out of order here.
Sure.
But basically, when I was in high school, I started shooting films because I was into the motion thing, and I got into a couple film festivals. One of them was like a bigger one in Indianapolis, the city, which is like the capital.
This is the erotic stuff you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
No, but it was all documentary, right? And I met my buddy Seth now, who had a freshwater project. They were giving freshwater to people overseas, right? And he said, "Oh, I'm having this gala in a couple of months in LA at the Beverly Hilton, where they like have celebrities together, like and to raise money for the project, right? It's like a nonprofit." And so I was like, told my mom, I was like, "Look, I got to go to this because I need to, So I fly out there, meet more people, and then it's just like one of those other trips to LA that I like kind of started my roots in LA, and then met Chris in the movie stuff, and then eventually just like decided to do the college thing, and I was out here for a solid 4 months, met people at college, and then we all split bedrooms in Hollywood. And moved out here like that because we didn't have any money.
I love this story. It's so romantic.
Well, I'm still trying to find the part where
he
he takes all of that and goes, and now I'm going to do stills.
But it's so cool.
Okay.
It's like
Totally,
you come
totally.
from a one stoplight town and you just have a dream and you have goals and you just like make it happen. You don't wait for it to come to you. You're flying all over. You're initiating. You're going up to people. You're introducing yourself.
That is great though that your college actually had
fantastic.
a program though for you to come out for that, because I feel like a lot of colleges don't. I feel like a lot of colleges and universities and even like private institutes, they don't really like push for you to be in the like the actual workforce. It's a lot of like, oh, this is kind of technically how you do it, and then it's more of like building your own brand, kind of going into it, but not necessarily like you should go and meet people. Like,
well, let me ask you a question, Matt. Like now in 2022 and beyond, now that this is the way the country and State of the Union is now, with social media, with the way everything's connected, with like YouTube and social media breaking open the world, so people who live in one stoplight towns can still see now. They're exposed to it if they have a cell phone connection signal. Like, do you think a college is the way to go structurally to spend $20K to kind of do these things, or can someone just get on a plane and say, hey, and start DMing people? Like how important truly was that college structure for you to do what you want to do today? Or was it really, because it sounds like it was really you. It was like your drive. Was that because you had the support of a college program behind you and the security? Or how do you think that would I guess my question is like, who's the kid listening now? Who's the 15-year-old kid listening now? Would you tell him the same advice?
There's a lot to unpack there.
Sure.
I was like, damn, bro. That's a question.
We were just talking about this with some homies in New York. Actually, the guy that I moved out here with that was in my college, we were talking about this. But when like there's no billboards in my town, there's no like they wouldn't be listening to this because they wouldn't even know how to like discover this.
Yeah. Like what's a podcast?
You don't know what self-service is. You don't know what Gucci is. I'm serious. I didn't even know what a lot of these brands were because there's no stores and my parents didn't have the money to shop or know even what that was. And how many times have you seen a Gucci ad actually on TV? I haven't seen it on like an actual commercial. We see it on YouTube and Instagram, like occasionally you'll see like a Chanel like perfume ad.
I honestly see more of those at the airport at LA.
Exactly.
More than anywhere else.
I mean, just general demographics of actual television, though, it doesn't fit into that range. That's
full
why it goes
mainstream.
towards travel, people who are traveling because you can afford to travel because you can afford the brand. But
exactly.
everything else kind of like slides within that, like perfumes and whatnot.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
But this is kind of a sidebar, but like even in my building, which I live in kind of like a building with some artists in it, some guy that lived downstairs who moved into my old unit actually is an artist from Ohio. And he lived in Ohio till he was like 30 something. And his art is insane. And the thing that blows my mind is how talented he is. And like, how did you get inspired in Ohio? Like not looking at like other things. But then that's what being an artist is that like he created that in his mind. I didn't need to see maybe what I needed to see to get to where I am. I needed to see like, this is the quality I need to achieve.
Yeah.
Right. And like when I was in Indiana, I didn't see that kind of quality. So I didn't even know what was out there until I started coming out here and seeing the next step. Yeah. But I mean, to answer your question, I don't think college is needed if people are really like, like self-started, you know, if they're really like self-starters and they're go-getters.
There's enough social instruments or
there's
tools.
Too many people, unfortunately, and I see this a lot with like, cause my sister's younger and some of her friends and other people of that age, they think that college is going to give them like a pass to a good job or like, oh, I went to college. I don't need to do, I went to college or like, I went to, where I knew from the beginning that I was like, I'm in a school. Hopefully no one's listening to this. That with a bunch of people.
No one is actually listening to this.
Right.
Don't worry. Yeah.
I went to a school where I knew the films were trash.
Yeah.
I just knew they were. And I was like, me being the best in this classroom, I will still be unsuccessful. I knew that very early on.
Yeah.
I'd fly out and then like my buddy Chris would show me like, I just like worked on this Cheetos commercial with like Tony Stewart or something and all this stuff. And I was like, this is insane. And then from that point on, it was just more and more of like reaching out to people that showed me something much bigger than I could even see in Indiana.
Which is huge because I think overall in the industry, especially when you're coming in fresh, that's like the most, I feel like that's like the most common mindset to have. Where like even for me, or I don't know if it was the same for you, but like when I first came into it, it was like the Model Mayhem days, and like we would sit in our studios talking shit, looking at like these huge campaigns that were done by like Mario Sorrenti or like Martin Marcus and Alan Van Unsworth and all these other people, and we were like, well, we could do this. What makes that so hard?
Yeah,
this is so silly that this is so praised upon. And then I went to go into assisting with commercial photographer, and I was like, oh, wait, no, we had no idea what we were dealing with, like at all.
It's so much bigger and so much more complicated than it has nothing to do with photography probably as well.
I would say majority of it doesn't, but that's the thing, is like you getting exposed to these like huge projects all of a sudden. And I think that's the best thing that like, even with new people coming in, I'm like, just get exposed to big projects, like at some point, if you can.
Yeah, like expose yourself in public to these projects.
Right, and it's also like it's a mindset you have to have that you're not the best. Like early on, like I see this even with like assistants now and like younger people that I'll chat with about like, what do you want to do? Like you can tell when people have too much confidence in their work way too early.
Yeah.
And it's like they can't take a critique or they can't. It's like I was so open. I was just grasping for knowledge. I was like, what do you think? Like, I mean, I even hit you guys up still all the time. Like, what do you think I should do about this? Like, how do you do this? I'm always been like looking for knowledge and appreciating the opinions of people that have been doing it longer than me.
Yeah.
And not everyone does that. And I think that stunts a lot of people's growth.
Yeah. It's ego and it's insecurity. And it's like, well, if I ask someone this, then they'll view me as inferior or not as educated or not as advanced. It's like, dude, that's all
Right.
you. Like no one
Right.
no one cares.
No one cares.
No one's
Right,
thinking
right.
that.
And the thing is, you guys
Most
know
of us are-
enough
yeah.
to know when someone's not legit. So
Well,
there's no reason to try to
Shintani
fake
knows a lot.
I never know anything.
Right.
I know
Sit
very
here,
little.
I exist. It's
But
fine.
I just had a whole talk with an assistant that works with me all the time too. Like on his website, it shows like Urban Outfitters, Dickies, all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, did they pay you for this? No, oh no, she just put a shirt on. I was like, all right, well, anyone that actually books jobs for those clients is going to know this is bullshit. So
Yeah.
you probably should take that name off your website,
Yeah.
because that's only going to look phony to
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Any creative director that works with Dickies knows you didn't shoot for Dickies. Take it off your site.
Yeah. So, how does this journey out here, your humble beginnings, how does this all culminate with meeting one Jared Thomas, Jared Katja, Jaja Jared, the one who would go on to introduce you to the rest of us? How do you guys' paths cross?
This is a funny story, but I probably started following him roughly circa January, like 2015, maybe, give or take. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
And he was on some flight and posted on his story. He's like something about like ask me questions, and I just like hit him. I was like, hey, like, would you ever like take on like an intern or anything like that? And this was
Hungry. I love it. I
probably-
love this.
This was like 6 months before I like knew I was coming out to LA for school. Part of the program is it's 2 days of schooling and it's 3 days of an internship that you have to find for yourself out here.
Oh.
So I'm looking for
So it makes you
internships.
look for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Right.
right. Yeah.
So you go to school for 2 days and they do your school stuff like class, like shooting, cinematography, whatever. And then you do your internship.
Mm-hmm.
I was hitting up everyone I knew for internships. And I hit up Jared once. He replied once. And then I followed up approximately 17 times. And I was like, hey, can I meet with you? Can I meet with you? At the same time, I'm hitting up my buddy Chris. I'm like, yo, anything you're shooting, I will literally hold a coffee. Let me know how I can get on your set. And then he was shooting stuff. So I would go every weekend. I'd be working with Chris on whatever he was working on. And Chris is very legit now. I can't do that now. But back then, he was working on like short films and doing other stuff that I could really get in there. But I mean, I was learning so much. It was insane. Like I was learning like just digital slates, all this stuff I've never seen before. It was all so new.
Yeah.
But anyways, and then I kept following up with Jared every day. I'm like, hey man, I know you're busy. Can I just come in for a meeting? Blah, blah, blah. He finally replies. He's like, yeah, come to the studio this day. I get there almost late. I illegally park my car.
Nice.
I come in there and I'm talking to him,
Please
and then
say
it's
you got
going
towed.
well, and I'm feeling good about it. I'm like, dude, look, I'm gonna be honest. My car's parked illegally. I don't got money to get it out if it gets towed. Can I just like skate?
He's
or
like,
what?
no.
And he's like, oh yeah, go.
Hey, Shintani,
What's up?
did you hear the one about how the photographer died? It made me shudder. Oh. Hey, Shintani, did you hear about the guy who stole all the photos? I think he was framed.
Listener, you understand what I have to deal with, right?
And you love it. And I love you. But the only thing we could love more is our listeners spreading the word about I Shoot LA.
That was a terrible segue. But yeah, if you're enjoying the podcast, a great way you can help support us is by telling a friend.
And even if they're not a friend and just like, like some random person you're working with on set that day.
Lucas and his terrible humor would be a conversation starter, to say the least.
So if you can please help out the show by telling a friend about I Shoot LA, it would really mean a lot to us.
Okay, back to the show.
That's pretty solid. Let's do it one more time.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, my whole path has been because I met people that took me in like a brother or like a son, and without any of those people, where I'm at now would be so very
Brother
different.
or a son?
Chris took me in like a brother. Jared took me in like a son. Jared, I would go home with his credit card at night accidentally, and all this stuff.
He is our son.
He is our son in a way.
I am your son. There you go. I'm your son.
I remember Jared actually made because he put it on his story or a video. He had some leggings made with your face on them, and had a girl, or sorry, one of the models on a job you guys are at, come down.
Wait,
and,
are these for sale?
yeah,
I would like
How
some.
much money you got? Because I got a couple. But
listen, they're limited edition.
Give me one of those NFTs.
I'll pay the hype.
Right.
give me an NFT. We'll call it.
So working with because that's how we all met you, is kind of like Jared was starting to bring around this this Midwestern kid, red haired kid from from Indiana. Like what at what point did you feel like Jared had kind of like indoctrinated you into the kind of the industry, and when did you start feeling confidence that you could really start to branch off on your own and really make your own way?
it's funny that we're doing this now because I've had time enough away from that I can speak about it in a different way. But I was nervous as fuck. Jared, oh man, I was so nervous. He was gonna fire me. Like Jared was like,
Jared's a sweetheart.
I know.
He's like,
when you show up working for him every day,
wow.
I was terrified.
Jared,
I was terrified, and it was just like
cracking the whip. Good work, Jared.
He was always like treated me well because when I was interning, it was a free internship. But whenever like I would assist him on set, he would pay me. And you have no idea. I would flake on class for anything. He'd be like, "What's up, man? I got to shoot tomorrow. Is there any way you can get out of class?" I'd be like, "Dude, kick me $50 and I'm there." I was like, this was like,
what?
I'm dead serious.
I love that he took care of you.
I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious.
I love that he took care of you. That's
any
really
amount
awesome.
of money I would show up for it because I also just like.
He took care of him. Are you kidding? We're charging $50 for assistance now.
Yeah, done.
This is our life.
Don't tell any of
Thank
mine.
you, Shouse.
Anyways, yeah, but it was never a comfortable position. I was always like, I knew I was like out of my league in terms of what I was doing. I was always like he took me to New York for a job when he definitely shouldn't have. He would say that if he was here. He'd be like, that was a mistake. 100%.
I had him there. I don't know why. It's fine.
The thing is, it was a very like time that will honestly, and me and him joke about this now, like it will never be replicated because he was new to having an assistant. He didn't know how it worked. He trusted me with way more than he should have. I didn't know what.
But you didn't let him down though.
I didn't know what I was doing. No, I did let him down.
Well, apparently in New York you let him down.
He would one day he's like a new brand like emailed him and he's like, you just do the quote. Whatever you think I should get, you do the quote.
Whoa.
I quoted way too high. And he's like, brother, why the hell did you quote that? They don't got any stores. They're like a tiny Australian company. And I was like,
wait,
well, I was trying to get
yes?
you paid. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. And that was it. But, you know, anyways.
Because if they said yes, then the whole tone would have shifted.
I do have a win. I do have a win for Jared I can speak about. But because I would email for him and all this stuff, and one of the clients he still has, a big Canadian client. But
oh, I know who that is. Oh,
yeah,
good work. That was you.
Right. So I cold emailed them, and then I got them to like I followed up with them, and then started chatting with them, and then I locked it, and then I went to New York with him for that one. Still shouldn't have been there for that, but I still emailed. So
he still has them.
But he does still have them. But anyways, it was never working with Jared was never easy for me. It was like not in like a bad way. It was just like I was just growing so much. I was trying to all this stuff was new to me. I was trying to figure out all this.
It sounds like you put that. It wasn't easy for you in that you put that pressure on yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
I was jumping in the pool, and I was like, I have no idea how to do all this stuff.
But you sink or swim, and you certainly swam, buddy. Jumping forward, when was to reiterate the question? When was the time that you felt like I'm no longer an intern, or no longer an assistant, I'm my own photographer? Like, what was that distinct like milestone for you?
The main point when I felt like Jared like believed in me, I guess, if you will, based off all my mistakes previously, which was a lot because I was new and all this stuff. But was when he moved to New York.
Yeah,
and he sent a bunch of agency emails just for testing because it's hard. Like it was hard for me to get model agencies to test with me. I would email a lot and try to figure that out.
Really interesting.
Okay.
Maybe my work wasn't there. Maybe the models weren't there because they weren't models. They were just like anyone. I would just DM every night. 100 people because to try to shoot anybody. I could just like
cool. You never asked Shintani Irish to shoot.
I do nudes.
You know? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do tasteful nudes, but cool. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, so Jared sent all these emails and leave me like, hey, like Matt's a cool guy to like, you know, like New and Wilhelmine and all these people, and like that was like really showed me like, you know, for him to put his name out there for me like showed a level of like trust.
So
that's sweet, Jared. You're a sweetheart.
There you go. Right, exactly. So, but that was like the main.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I never felt like that confident. I never felt like that great about myself working for Jared because even now, look at Jared. He's had so much success. Like he knows his shit.
Yeah,
and he's not gonna like pass
God.
off. He's not gonna say something is good if it's not.
Yeah.
But you're saying that in the same tone where it's like, well, what? I mean, you have one great client that you shoot constantly. Set. Can we say the name? I guess.
Sure.
Set Active, right? Like crushing with Set Active. I'm like, you shot Karushi. Like, I think that's how you say her name. I mean, like you're shooting fire, dude.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
look at you now. Look
that's-
at you fly. Your wings have I don't know.
You're on our podcast.
Yeah, you're on our podcast. You're big enough to have us invite you onto the podcast.
Yeah.
Listener, you can't see Matt's expression right now, but it's kind of like
I traveled here long and far.
you idiots.
You travel like the olden days by foot.
Yeah.
And I don't want to harp on this Jared time too much, but the thing he instilled in me was that he always wanted more. He always looked bigger. And that's the same with me. You know, I have my times when I'm working really hard, and I have my times when I'm a little bit lazy in terms of like personally, like, sure, you're shooting jobs, but you're not actually elevating. This guy, to this day, I just saw him like 3 days ago or something. His motivation is insane. He's always on to the next thing. How do I get better? How do I evolve? And that's been instilled in me.
Which is great.
And
But,
like
that you have to have that, I think, in the industry no matter what. Like if you're trying to make it in general, if you ever get complacent with where you're at, you're going to drown because that water elevates way higher and faster than anyone could ever imagine.
Right.
Like, there's this idea where I always tell people, I'm like, if you want to make it as a photographer, you always need to be improving. Like that's all it is. There's never a point where you should be satisfied with your work because quite frankly, the work's going to pass you at some point, always.
And even if you are satisfied, like a month later, like the trends shift, like it's just,
of course,
like you're only as good as your last shoot. In a way, maybe not. Maybe it's a little unfair to say, but like,
I think also
you can't rest on your laurels.
Yeah, for brands and fashion. I don't know if you guys see it in the same aspect, but like fashion changes so quickly, constantly that if you're not trying to keep up with everything, it is. Yeah. But it's the '90s, but elevated in like a completely different level now. Where all of a sudden now you have like 3D cameras going off too. You have cinemagraphs, you have different just digital assets that are going in with mixed media.
And if nothing else, video is now standard. Like whether or not you're the one doing it or they're bringing it on somebody else, like it's social media, TikToks and or video is like that comes standard. That's why I taught myself over pandemic video and Premiere is because I was sick of like referring other people to the jobs. I mean, it's only social media stuff. I'm not trying to be like, Chris Nolan, but it's absolutely necessary.
I mean, I don't even think it's no coincidence that like we are all friends and that we have that group of, because there's a lot of people that we know as acquaintances that don't really take their work as seriously or don't evolve. And they're not sitting at this table. You know, I'm not going to like get into name dropping.
No, we should shit talk everybody.
But
next week on the podcast.
Exactly.
No, but I mean, like I think your drive and motivation also like definitely project you into a certain realm of like who your environment is.
Yeah.
So like if you aren't the one asking for work, if you aren't the one asking for and it seems like a hindrance, but it's not, right? It's like, oh, I don't want to bother you, but I'm going to bother you.
Yeah.
Because I need this, I want this. Like this is something for my future. And
Matt, I know you're like a decade plus younger than me, but I said this with John Jay, who's around your same age bracket, which is like, I do not see this level of drive and commitment and like going after what you want actively as much in your generation and even younger than, so like you guys are an example
in today's day,
Because it's just like guys or kids listening out there, like it's just no one's gonna come to you. You're not gonna get discovered. No one's gonna like be swiping along and be like, oh, who is this? And then next year you're gonna be, billboards in New York, okay? Like you have to claw and fight, especially now when everyone's a photographer, when everyone is a photographer in 2022. You have to claw and fight for every inch. And this will be the rest of your life. This is what you're signing up for. Good news, it's a lot of fun. Like,
well, because to be real too, even when
this
you were
industry's
like
a lot of fun.
With you and Jared, like how many times you kept DMing him?
Yeah.
Right.
He saw everyone. I'm guaranteeing he saw everyone, right? Like, because I mean, because like we get them too, right? Like it's like we see them, and I'm like, all right, cool, and then
you forget.
Obviously, time passes, and like we just forget, and that's why I'm always like, like people are like, should I keep asking to get on set with you? And it's like, as much as humanly possible, because I literally click it, and then it shows that it's red, and I forget, and then I go on with my day. Like I if I'm not at my computer and not readily available to answer this right now, I'm gonna forget. That's just how that works.
Hey Shintani, you know what my favorite number is?
If you say 69, I swear to God.
No, it's 5. And you know what best comes in 5s?
Your mom. Oh.
It's 5. And you know what best comes in 5s? Stars, as in rating us 5 stars on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
I feel like there was a more efficient way to do the spot.
I couldn't think of any.
Yeah, that's obvious.
Crew, a great way to help the almighty algorithm so more people discover the podcast is to rate our show 5 stars on either Apple or Spotify. And if you're an Apple listener, a way to show even more love is to leave a comment on the show's page, even if it's just about Shintani.
Only comments about Shintani, please.
The way it should be. Crew, thanks in advance for helping the show grow. We really appreciate you.
Okay, now back to the show.
Fantastic.
More White Claws.
But more White Claws. But for now, I think it's time for Shintani's favorite segment.
Questions Korner.
Questions Korner. Questions is with a K, everybody. It says, is paid, in quotes,
I hope my lack of fingers doesn't prevent the perception of my air quotes.
is paid model testing a dead concept? Meaning, like, making like a little bit of a living / shooting models.
No.
Yeah. Wait, so it is a dead concept.
No. I think it's still fully live and running.
Like, you think you can like sustain living in Los Angeles on just paid model testing alone?
I don't know about LA, but you can. I know. I can make money off doing it,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Our
Shouse,
guest looks
could you make a full-time living?
He looks very confused at this right now.
I mean, I'm not, so I've never been good at that. I've never been like a consistent model tester because I like to mix it up every single
Same.
time I shoot. And so I've personally stopped replying to all DMs and emails with that.
Oh,
because
fair.
I've just realized that's just not me.
Yeah.
And unless you really need the money, which I get that,
Yeah.
I think you maybe could do it. But
Yeah.
there's a level of people that do paid model tests, they want to work with a photographer they think is working. So there's like an irony in paid model testing, because if you're only a paid model tester, you probably won't get as many tests, you know what I mean? Opportunities, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's the thing is like that's why I'm like New York. I know there's like tons of them still. Like New York thrives in that because they embody. Not to say LA is not, but they truly embody models as like the fashion industry goes.
Yeah.
When you look at how they shoot and how clients book, it's very model forward and very fashion forward and not Instagram.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest difference between us and like LA and New York. But
I mean, some photographers that we all know are very like, their style is very like, this is what you're gonna get. I personally just haven't came up like that.
Yeah.
I like mixing things up and keeping it interesting.
Yeah, like
and
I treat
model tests
testing
don't
as
work
like
well with that.
as like experiments. Like, I want to try out this new location.
And that's how it was in the
But
beginning.
if you're doing paid tests, I mean, like they're looking for a very specific look.
Yeah.
Right, that's why I get confused when people ask me about that.
Yeah.
Like, well, what do you think I'm gonna do?
Yeah, my
You don't even know what I'm gonna do.
my experience with
It's
that
tests.
Right, but
specifically was it was after my kind of like Alexis Wren like bubble, that was my Alexis Wren peak is like when she became famous, and I was kind of associated with those photos of of her like kind of getting on the world's radar, like. That was like my peak of like testing requests, and it's like I can't, because I thought I could replicate that. Like I could, we could go into my, at the time, loft's pool on the rooftop, and then my hallway, which was my white wall, and we could shoot that, but you're not gonna look like her. There was something like that how she captured the zeitgeist or got into the zeitgeist, that has nothing to do really with me. It was just timing. Like, I pressed the shutter and they're fine pictures, but they're nothing like super special. It was just, that was the time. So if like I can take a picture of you and it'll look exactly the same, but it's not gonna do for your career what a jumpstart, like what it did for her. So to me, it was just kind of like, I don't know what to do with this. Like sure, I can shoot you against like a window or, but I'm not going to be able to make you famous.
Yeah.
That goes back to what I was saying, is that people want to model test with photographers that already have some kind of hype. That's the irony in it. If you're an upcoming photographer, it's going to be hard to make a living off model testing. People want to work with like, oh, he shoots this brand. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like people want to be associated with that.
Well, I also don't think as an upcoming photographer, though, you're going to get that much paid testing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Especially
saying.
not in 2022.
Exactly.
Not today. I mean, it was already hard enough in like the early 2000s, like 2010s.
Yeah.
Like it's not. or the late 2000s. Like it's not any easier. But yeah, I agree with the same thing. Like I feel like a lot of people
to establish yourself, you establish.
Well, they
yourself
want your clients
first.
to see
Exactly.
your test. Like
Right,
they're hoping that you're going to
Right.
repost the test in terms that your clients are going to be like, oh, this is a potential next model that I can book for a job.
Or you've been putting in, yes, exactly. We're on the same page with that. But
Yeah.
or you've been testing top tier models, even if you're not working and not booking jobs, and they want to be associated with like the top tier models.
Yeah.
And that's, because
Well, but
I
that's
can think
also
of some people off the top of my head that are that I'm not going to like name.
But
drop,
I also
we all
think
know
there is
them.
there is a strategy to that though, right? Like where it's
Right.
like, because for me at least when I first started, it was like test everything, right? So I tested the entire Alley Models board, like the entire
Yeah.
board
Yeah.
of New Faces and Alley M2 and everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, can I please shoot some working girls?
Can I
like
please
the
shoot them in the
big
booth?
girls, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, we'll give you 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we'll give
Yeah.
you those, right? And then those faces build your book
exactly.
in a significant form more than you could ever really even like
Yeah.
compensate on pay at that
Yeah.
point, right? And so that's what I kind of looked at. But
Yeah. What's the famous quote? I think I've said this before in interviews, but the famous quote is like, a picture of Kate Moss against a white wall with natural light will do so much better for your career than however many thousands of dollars you pour into some spec test with,
Yeah.
granted she's a wonderful person, but some, regular women's board model. It's
Yeah.
like, so it all kind of like counts. But to answer the listener's question, I don't know. In 2022, can you make a consistent living year in, year out, just model testing? Hey man, like or woman.
Yes,
like-
but you're already established.
Yeah.
exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes, but you don't need to. That's the
Yeah, if
irony.
you're already
is, like,
established,
the
you're
people
doing
that,
clients.
Right.
Yeah.
The people that would be able to don't need to.
Yeah.
That's the irony, I think, in
Yeah.
the question.
Yeah, so I would treat model test as beer money, as
Exactly.
bill money. Like, hey, I have an extra
Right.
1,000 this month. I can pay off my Spotify and my Netflix and my YouTube.
But also the profit margin.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you guys, but for me, isn't even close. Like, you go shoot a job, you can make way more money for
okay.
way less work compared to shooting a model
on
test.
a job, yes,
what I'm saying,
but
but-
you could also you could always do multiple in a day.
But
That
then
sounds
it's
like too much
that's
work.
so much work, and you're doing what?
all
like,
that talking.
you're doing
Ugh.
8, 9 retouches, maybe more per. It's just like,
I guess.
I don't know what you guys are charging for paid model testing. It's never really been
I
worth
charge
it.
$4,500 a person. So.
$4,500 a person. All right, well then you should probably
Well,
run
I'm at
that
like
thing.
27K.
Yeah.
So.
27K. There you go. I'm not at 27K, so I guess you guys should just keep running it.
Okay, I guess dinner's on us again now.
It is on. Yeah, let's go to Bestia.
Yeah, let's go to best.
Cheers.
Yeah. All right, next question. The question is, what would be the most important piece of advice you could give to someone looking to start their career in fashion photography in Los Angeles in 2022?
Matt Shouse.
Matt Shouse.
That's a good question. To start, I think it's look at brands, and with your photos, what are you selling?
Yeah.
That's what was always told to me from a young age is what are you selling? Jared was like, what are you selling? And also shoot for everything you shoot options in frame. Always shoot a full body.
Yeah.
Always shoot it. Like I just yelled at my assistant today all day about this in the truck on the way home, which I'm sure he loved that. But
Full body.
he loves his portraits, and I'm like, you're not going to be Dean Martindale, so chill out and back it up a little bit there, brother.
Yeah.
And anyways, I guess that's like, look at what people are doing to sell clothes, like other brands that are established, and also
I
just like
picture you in your truck going full body.
you have no idea. It's basically that.
Yeah.
It's basically that. I'm like, look, brother, you're a great guy. You do great work for me. But if you want to book jobs and not be in this truck anymore, back it up.
Yeah.
Just
Full body.
back it up.
Guys,
Just back it up.
Fashion is
Couple steps back.
Fashion is clothing,
Right.
and clothing is full body.
When is the last time you guys shot a job that you didn't take a full body image that wasn't beauty?
Yeah.
If ever.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh well,
what
I
I'm saying.
actually just had this conversation with Bram, and I was telling him, I was like, for brands when I shoot in
Right.
general, right? If you get like leniency, because like just with the experience within e-commerce and everything else, once you start seeing the aspect of like when they're like, we want a banner shot, so like you
Yeah.
got to go wide horizontal,
Yeah.
and then we want an email shot, so we need some upper header and stuff like this, right? Like so you see all these different like methods that they do, but I was like, but obviously like we want to shoot like our stuff, right?
Right.
Like the fun things that excite us. So it's like, all right, we're gonna shoot close up like portraits. with maybe a couple like half body 3/4. And I was like, so what I like to do is I always go in. I'm like, I shoot a little 3/4. I'm like, get a little mood, little vibe going. You're like, all right, here's how we're setting this. Get in tight, get that one portrait. And the second they call it, because your client's always going to be like, hey, got that. You're
Right.
like, all right, cool. Let's step back.
Yep.
Full body the rest of it.
Yeah.
Because you're like, that's what they need.
I love that your assistant's kind of going through this phase right now, because that was absolutely me in the beginning. Because like
He only shot eyeballs.
Yeah, exactly. I love my macro, but like no, because faces are easy. It's easy. What like because like especially it depends on who you book, but casting's everything. If you cast a good face, the work's done for you. Like portraits, especially in fashion, you don't have to get like super arty. It's really easy. So a lot of the heavy lifting's done by before you even press the button because of who you cast. What's hard is backing out and making a composition.
Interesting.
Yeah, balancing the frame,
Right.
or if nothing else, interesting, different. That's the challenge.
Well, I mean, so when me and Jared used to go through photos, he would only go through the full card, no edits. He would want to see every single frame because like the only way I can see what you're doing is if I see every single frame that you click.
Yeah.
So we'd put it on the TV. We're drinking tequila. We'd be just getting fucked up, and he would just be yelling like, "What the fuck is this?"
No, that's the best.
And then the main thing he said is that like when I was first moved out here, I like you read all these blogs and stuff like, oh, like prime lenses are sharper. They're sharper.
Oh,
they're
God.
sharper. So I'm over here on an 85, this and that, shooting a
Rutherford
50,
photographers.
and he's like, dude, stop using prime lenses. Shoot a 24-105 or 24-70. At the time I didn't have a 24-70, I had 24-105. He's like, go try that.
Yeah.
And back it up and zoom it in and back it up and like these are boring. These are all the same compositionally. Move your feet or move your zoom lens. And that really helped me a lot. And I think about that still. That's like really inspired how I shoot. It's like coverage, cover everything. Full, close, all, like why not? It takes 2 seconds to just rip the zoom, go in a little closer. It's not like a long amount of time.
I would say think of it as you're shooting a film. If you're shooting a scene, like a full scene, like a 5-minute scene in a movie, you wouldn't have one wide shot unless you're Paul Thomas Anderson, which if you're Paul Thomas Anderson, then you don't have to worry about things. You can do what you want. But like you have to get close-ups, you got to get like reaction shots and whatever. So treat your lookbook the same way. Shintani, advice. Photographers 2022 in Los Angeles getting their start. Go.
Good luck.
Lucas.
We're gonna Pilates studio.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What's up, Carrie? If you still want to hire me, I'm right here.
I'll throw in my 2 cents real quick, which is just reiterating everything that Matt Shouse did 10 years ago. It's timeless advice. You have to be the one who hustles. Nothing's going to be given to you. You're not going to be discovered. Like you have to do the footwork because no one's going to care about you except for you. And so you have to make other people care. How do you do that? Networking, DM, introduce yourself. Everything Matt said for the last 45 minutes, that advice is timeless. Whether this is 2032, 42, 52, I'll be dead in 2052. So hopefully this lives on forever.
And I would also say, just to add on to that, even that is anything industry as far as like events go. I'm like, that's like, just go to them. Like I don't care how introverted you are, how hungover you are, how fucked up you are already going into it. Just go.
We should have an I Shoot LA event.
Yes.
Yeah. Granted, it's just going to be Shouse, Kelly, Jamie, Summer.
Tight.
Yeah.
It's poker night. And poker night.
It's basically poker night.
If Ben isn't too busy, perhaps he would also come as well.
Right.
He'll drink a LaCroix. He'll chill and drink a LaCroix.
Cool,
He's pretty busy.
Yeah, thanks, Ben.
Busy guy. Hope you're winning your games, Ben. Hope you're winning your games.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we are going to have Matt Shouse back sooner than later for our new bonus episodes, which are going to be dropping randomly.
The Shouse special.
Yeah, the Shouse. But they're going to be roundtable episodes where we just invite people in the industry, and instead of a little bit more of a structured format, we're just going to like pop some, White Claws and pour some tequila and just talk shit the entire time. So look forward to that. Matt, you live right down the street, just like Alex Stone. So we will see you sooner than later. But until then, this is Lucas Passmore for my partner in crime, Kuestions Korner, and Matt Shouse saying, stay hot, LA. Which Shintani still does not like that tag.
You know what? It still feels too Anchorman-y. I don't know.
Fair enough.
It is Anchorman-y. That's exactly what it is.
We'll workshop this.
Cheers, LA.
Cheers, LA.
Cheers.
Oh, cheers. We do cheers, LA. That's not a bad one.
Cheers, LA.